Is this thing on? Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. I lost my objectivity, and this week, thankfully, I got it back. Sometimes you have kind of this moment of clarity when you feel hurt and broken-hearted. We know there's a divide in the DC live-action fandom. There's the pure DC fans who basically say everything's awesome. And then there's the Snyderverse stands who are fighting to restore the Snyderverse. And I've been on both sides of it. I love Man of Steel. I was on board with Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman. And then Justice League happened and all hell broke loose. And I spent 2 or 3 years on this channel fighting to release the Snyder Cut. And thankfully we did it. And then, obviously, no coincidence, as people wanted to restore the Snyderverse, these people at WB Pictures announced at DC Fandom 2020 that we were getting a multiverse strategy where everything would be canon from past and present iterations of DC live action. Everything will be DCEU canon. That's the moment I lost my objectivity because I became this geek and this nerd. Wow, the multiverse strategy. You saw it happen to me via this channel. And all of a sudden, I rejected what Ray Fisher was saying about Walter Hamada. Even though we all know he was telling the truth, and everything he was saying was valid, I didn't want anyone getting in the way of this multiverse strategy and this seemingly exciting new future. As soon as I heard the word multiverse, I was excited. DC live action multiverse, wow. And I was on that train, I was riding that horse, and I was so excited. And they announced 5 movies in 1 year. The Batman, Black Adam, the Flash movie, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Wow, and Batgirl. That was a very ambitious thing to do. It showed for the first time since the DCEU started that they were ambitious, they were competitive. And this week, when they announced they were delaying movies and moving them about, I woke up and I got my objectivity back. And objectivity in this game is very, very important. When you're making videos and you're talking to people and people watch you and they listen to what you say, you have a responsibility. And I must apologize because since the multiverse has been announced, that strategy has been announced, I lost that objectivity. All I cared about was seeing these movies. I became obsessed. And of course, it was all about distracting us, those of us who were interested, so we didn't fight to restore the Snyderverse. It was a tactic. But what a tactic. But if they were genuine about doing a proper, true multiverse strategy, I was on board. And that's what lost me my objectivity. From the moment they announced that they were doing a multiverse strategy, I thought it was a very clever thing to do. And the announcement that this Flash movie was going to reboot the DCEU, and we were going to start again. And there was so much potential in that for me, I wasn't objective any longer. And as I say, that's a bad direction to go in. And this week, when they changed their schedules, I woke up and realized that these are untalented, creatively bankrupt people. They pulled the rug from underneath me and you without a second thought. We don't know what the motivations are over at Warner Brothers right now. We know there's an imminent merger, and we know that must have something to do with it. I've given you loads of different theories that I've got, because this is what happens when they don't talk to their public. They didn't announce it themselves. We had Toby Emmerich on Monday boasting that he was the one who should take credit for the Batman. And then he went and hid again and got his stormtroopers to announce it. His stormtroopers in poor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the director of Shazam, the director James Wan of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, etc., etc. Now, we've already discussed earlier that Andy Muschietti is the only one who's staying quiet. I find that utterly suspicious. So now I'm objective again, and I think you've noticed that in my past few videos, where I haven't got stars in my eyes, and I'm not saying everything Walter Hamada does is right, yeah. And I had this whole thing, calling the Snyderverse stands propaganda merchants. But if you look back and think, even though they can be annoying, a lot of the stuff they say is true. In the next year, the face of Warner Brothers will change. As we become Warner Discovery, things will change. And something else that's going to change is the face of DC live action. And I think they delayed these movies just to get them as far away as possible so they don't have to deal with them now. They've got themselves in a mess. They made us a promise. 5 movies in 1 year. But again, I lost my objectivity. Because while we were getting 5 movies in 1 year, there wasn't a proper slate for 2023. This is how bankrupt of any talent or creativity they are. I wasn't objective. I have responsibilities as a YouTuber to be objective as much as I can, because I am a nerd after all, and I do have biases. But of course we all do. And this week I woke up from my slumber when they announced they were delaying the Flash movie for 7 months. Out of nowhere this has come, everyone. Out of nowhere. And you know how frustrated I am about this, because that was the movie I kept on talking about. We was all excited about it. And they've pulled the rug from underneath us. We may never see Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, or Black Adam, or The Flash, or Shazam Fury of the Gods, as unlikely as that sounds. Because I believe the DCEU as we know it is finished. And the only DCEU we're going to know is the climax to Zack Snyder's Snyderverse. And he hasn't got the time, even if he's given the green light to do it, by Zaslav and Discovery for a while. You'd be talking about 2023, back end of this year. But I mean, who cares? If he gets the opportunity to do it, it's very exciting. And you'll see me dancing on this channel. He deserves that. And when he's done, he'll be done. And that'll be the end of the DCEU we know. That's the real DCEU, the Snyderverse. Not this weird thing we've had since Zack's left. Anyway. But as I say, I lost my objectivity and I didn't see that. I didn't care about the Snyderverse anymore. We'd seen the Snyder Cut. I love it. But I thought, yeah, let's move on. Let's move forward. Because as I say, it sounded like such a good thing. They manipulated us. And it was easy because they offered us something amazing. Something with so much potential. And I mean, it wasn't like there wasn't a voice at the back of my head saying, Mick, what do they mean by multiverse? What are they trying to do? Is this what you think it's going to be? But then you shut that voice at the back of your head up. And this week we've been woken up and we've been shown who these people really are. And once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep again. Because it is what it is now. So it's now my job and my responsibility on this channel to be as objective as I can. As I say, there's not going to be ever 100% objectivity from me. I'm a DC stan. I love DC live action. I've been bred on it. The first movie I ever saw was Superman the movie, as I've mentioned so many times. But now is the time to understand that we're heading for a new future, a better future, hopefully. And listen, as I've said before, I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know if Discovery is the right fit for the new Warner Brothers, if they're going to do the things AT&T should have. There's been problems at this studio for a long time, and somebody needs to grab hold of this mammoth and sort it out once and for all, and give us a DC live action universe that we can be proud of. This has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you tonight on the live show. Until then, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. See you soon.